My name is Dr. Andy Evans. I'm a board-certified toxicologist, a trained hazmat technician, a responder and former trainer of the Cary, North Carolina Community Emergency Response Team, for which I taught classes on surviving terrorist incidences. My presentation is titled Surviving School Shootings, Evacuation, and we'll go over the benefits of using evacuation during a school shooting incident, which has been proven to save lives and is the fastest response possible that a school can take of all the different response options. So let's talk about the responses that schools can take during a school shooting incident. There is a lockdown response and an evacuation response. Currently, most schools perform a lockdown, and hardly any schools will enact an evacuation during a school shooting. This is unfortunate because evacuations are really recognized as the first choice. Department of Homeland Security recommends evacuation as the top choice in dealing with an active shooter situation, and FEMA recommends evacuation during school shootings. Lockdown's goal is to prevent people from getting into classrooms during a shooting incident. The problem is that 95% of the shooters are actual students, so they're already in those classrooms. So the initial site of the attack, where that shooter starts, lockdown will not have an effect at stopping the people in that classroom from being shot from their fellow student shooter who is in that same classroom. Now, lockdown only provides one factor of protection, which is shielding. Its job is just to prevent the shooter from getting into the classroom and getting to the students and the teacher inside the classroom. But these doors can easily be breached. In fact, there are special attachments made for shotguns specifically to shoot through the locks of doors and open them. So these doors can be opened within a matter of 2 or 3 seconds with one shot of a shotgun. And these little adapters aren't needed. They just help make breaching a door a little bit easier. So evacuation, on the other hand, uses 3 different factors of protection. It uses time, distance, and can also use shielding. So by evacuating and leaving the building where the shooting incident occurs, you are decreasing the amount of time and increasing the distance you are from that site of the incident, which decreases your risk of getting shot. Shielding can also be used in evacuation, where lockdown could actually be part of the evacuation response, where doors are first locked and then students and teachers evacuate the building afterwards, or shielding can be used during the evacuation pathway where people are leaving the building. So evacuation really removes the people from the danger, whereas lockdown keeps them at the site of danger, with their only mode of protection being shielding through that one door. So the people who go through lockdown are basically just waiting in their classroom to be saved. They're waiting for the police response to occur. If the shooter was able to breach that door and get into the classroom, then they would be trapped, where the shooter would have nothing stopping them from shooting everybody in that classroom. But if you choose an evacuation response, the students and the teachers can help save themselves. This is actually the fastest response possible that a school could take to save lives, because here the potential victims are the ones who are responding to save their own lives. So you're not having to wait for police or a school resource officer or even an armed teacher to respond and go after the shooter. The potential victims themselves are responding by leaving and removing themselves from the danger area. Now, 81% of school shootings are conducted by a single shooter. And what that means is if there's only one person who's doing the school shooting, they could easily breach through locked down doors within a matter of seconds and shoot everyone in the classroom as they go. But if you use evacuation, only one shooter can stop or block one door at a time. So if classrooms have two doors, then the shooter can block one door, but the people inside that classroom aren't trapped like they are in lockdown. They can still leave that room unless the shooter tries to chain the doors closed before they start their attack. And this actually happened in Norris Hall at Virginia Tech, where all the exit doors were chained closed. But these doors can be designed so that they're unable to be chained. And so in an incident where you have a single shooter, they won't be able to stop people from evacuating that classroom where the shooting is occurring. And evacuation has been proven to save lives. It's been shown at Virginia Tech to have saved at least 10 lives. At Taft Union High School, 28 lives were saved, and many lives were known to be saved at Columbine High School because of evacuation. So now we're going to see a short video that demonstrates how quick and easy it is to open up a locked door, including a metal door, which you'll see in this demonstration.
This is going to be a tricky one. Fire in the hole. Nice. Oh, sweet. That's a perfect shot.
Wonder where it went. You did have one, right?
This is Norris Hall at Virginia Tech, the site where most of the shootings occurred in that incident. Most of the shootings occurred on the second floor of the wing of Norris Hall over on the left side that you can see. 3 of the exits to this building were locked. You can see on the left side of the building a orange door in the tunnel towards the right side of the picture, and in the back of the corner that you can't see here. These were all changed so that people couldn't exit the building, allowing the shooter to shoot and kill more people. Now, what happened in one classroom was the shooter tried to get through the door into the classroom, which did not have locks. The teacher then stopped the shooter by closing the door and trying to keep it closed while telling all the students to jump out of the windows. So in this case, 10 lives were saved by the students jumping out of the second-story windows. As you can see, these windows are very small, and it would be hard to evacuate through them, plus the fact that they're on the second floor. So many of these people did injure their legs and ankles as they did that, but even though under these non-ideal situations, they were able to save their lives by evacuating the building. So let's look at the exit doors at Norris Hall that were chained closed. If we look at the cartoon figure on the right, the set of doors on the top, what you're seeing are the exterior of double exiting doors on the left, top left corner, and the interior of those doors on the top right corner. In both cases, these doors could be chained from either the inside or the outside. The outside, the external handles, stick out away from the door and can easily be chained. On the inside, the panic bars that were used are an older kind that could stick out from the door, also allowing them to be chained. So what Virginia Tech did was simply remove half of the hardware on these double doors so that they couldn't be chained on the outside. And on the inside, they upgraded the panic bars to those kinds that are flushly mounted to the door and cannot be changed. And you can see a picture of this on the left side where half of the hardware has been removed from these doors. So now let's look at how the design of the school itself can influence the way that a school can respond during a school shooting incident. Now, I apologize right now that I am not an artist, and so the diagram of the school on the left is as good as I can do. Hopefully it'll be good enough so that you can tell what I'm talking about. So what we have here is a typical first floor of a school where you have classrooms on either side of a common hallway. And each classroom has a single door that goes in and out of that common hallway. At the end of each end of that hallway are doors that can exit to the outside of the building. So during an evacuation in the current school design, all the students within the classrooms would leave through the only door that they have in their classroom, which empties them out into this common hallway. What this does is it concentrates all the students and teachers into this one single hallway, which would not be a good thing in a school shooting incident because the shooter could just simply stand in the hallway and shoot down the hallways and hit someone just about every shot that they take. Now, the reason that schools are designed this way is because the current building code and fire codes only require a single door in classrooms. This is because that the evacuation in schools is really geared towards fire protection. So in the case of a fire starting inside the school, the fire is going to spread throughout the school, but it spreads at a relatively slow rate from room to room throughout the building. So students and teachers have time to get out of the building. It's not like the fire is wiping out the entire building in a matter of seconds. And also the fires are growing out from their origin. They don't specifically target students and teachers. So the concept behind the current design is that students will have time that they can use these common hallways to exit a building in a fire, and that concentrating all the people into these common hallways is not a bad thing since the fire is not seeking out people specifically. But in an active shooting situation, this is not the case. The shooters can move through a school much faster than a fire and are targeting students and teachers. So until building codes are changed to include or to require additional exits from classrooms, the current school setup is what we have to work with. So I'm recommending that school systems take it upon themselves to not wait for building codes to catch up with this new threat, but to include additional exits in their new building designs, as well as retrofitting existing school buildings. And we're going to go over several ways that this can be done with various levels of cost to the school system. So on the left side, again, is the typical school design where each classroom only has a single door to go in or out of. On the right side, we have a school designed with direct exiting so that each classroom has two exits. One is the everyday door that goes through the common